many cases, not all cases, but there's a great percentage of individuals who step into ministry who have not been fathered naturally.
I've never seen a storefront Lutheran church. I've never seen a storefront Presbyterian, Methodist, Roman Catholic, or even Jewish.
Yes.
But our culture has them all over.
Yeah. So if you're really thinking about launching out, ask yourself, how much of the cost are you willing to pay for independence? Because it is very costly.
Yeah.
Well, praise the Lord, everyone. Welcome to Shifting Times. This podcast deals with various topics that are culturally influenced, and we attempt to put biblical concepts to attach to those issues that confront you every day. Today, we're going to talk about something that is dear to my heart. The question is, why are there so many pastors building churches, setting up churches all alone? We want to talk today about fathering. What does it mean to father someone in the gospel, to assist them in their responsibilities to serve their congregations as a pastor, and what benefits are there to having a spiritual father? And we'll use the example of Elijah and Elisha. What benefits are for those young ministers who are walking into the pastorate or into ministry at large, and doing so under the tutelage of a father in the gospel, or what are the deficits of not having a father in the gospel? Now, today joining me are my two favorite people, Pastor Brian Weatherspoon of Tabernacle Harvest Church and Pastor Tim Baldwin of Bethel Northeast. Gentlemen, it's good to be with you again on Shifting Times.
Always.
It's good to be here, always.
You guys are all right with me.
Yes, sir.
I can get up and walk off now and know that the broadcast will go on quite well.
He's been trying to point us off for a long
think
time.
so, yeah. It's been a
Especially
while.
now that you're so rested, it'll be great to have
He's
you
extremely
step-
rested,
He's extremely rested. Because it's such a good topic to discuss.
Yes, sir.
Because we're seeing a lot of young churches today.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And in your travels and your associations, you're finding a lot of people stepping into the pastorate.
Yeah.
So let's ask the first question. Why are so many of these people entering ministry without fathering?
That's such a good question,
It
Bishop.
is.
You know, one of the problems with the culture is fatherlessness, and that translates into the church. And so, in many cases, not all cases, but there's a great percentage of individuals who step into ministry who have not been fathered naturally.
Right.
Which means it's difficult to even conceptualize what it means to have a father in the gospel.
Yeah.
And so I think that's one of the things that happens. And then there's some other nuances to it. You know, we see a lot of people in music ministry, you know, going from music ministry into the pastorate as if like the next level of ministry or spirituality has to be the pastorate.
Okay.
You know, and so again, I think there's a myriad of things, but I think that fatherlessness piece plays a major role in some of the things that we're seeing.
Pastor, what do you think
Yeah,
about that?
I'm in total agreement with Pastor Tim. You know me, I'm going to add a little bit more, probably bite
Just
to the
be nice,
conversation.
that's all.
I'll be
Be
kind.
Be nice.
Well, there's a crave for power.
Okay.
And what we're seeing is there's a whole, all right, I'll back up. So we have a gospel that's preached now in our context from an independent level.
Yeah. That's
So we don't
Yeah.
preach harmony, togetherness in our gospel.
Yeah.
A lot of what's preached is go get it yourself. You can go do it. God can help you do this all by yourself if need be. And we've led people to believe that all of this is independent when it's not. It's interdependent upon each other. And that's the whole one anothering piece of the gospel. We don't preach one anothering in our context. So a lot of people just think, I don't need the space. I don't need a person. I don't need to get it from anybody else because I can just go get it from God myself, which I think creates this other mindset of, well, why do I need to listen to you when I can just go pray and get it from God myself? Because God speaks to all of us ourselves. So it lends itself to no accountability. And my last part, which was my first part, it's that craving for power, personal desire for nobody to be able to tell me what I need to do.
What are some of the advantages in having that father relationship if one is going to go not only in the pastorate, but in ministry at large? Because there's some people who flow in ministry, they're not pastors, and they do so with I don't like the term, but it's so appropriate, without any covering.
Yeah, some of what was the question, Bishop?
Benefits. What
some
are
of the
some
benefits.
of the benefits?
Yeah,
of having
there is accountability there. Like fathers are individuals who give purpose, who give agency to their children, right? And when I think about having a spiritual father in you, I think about how I was supported in my role as a pastor when I left here. I think about my role. I've never had to make a decision alone. There are many times, over the years, that I'm just showing up in the office like, Bishop, we got to talk about this. Like I don't even know what to do here. Like, what does this look like? And so I have a sounding board, and it allowed me to do ministry successfully without falling into not having pitfalls, and maybe some that you have fallen into that I did not have to because you paved the way for us.
That's true.
There's and let's be frank, nothing starts without a father. Right. The idea in the Latin is pater, which is where we get the word pattern. Everything's got to start from a pattern. And nothing really starts from just out of nowhere. God wanted to plant it, he fathered it. Everything else fathers after its own. The seed bears its own fruit. You and I father children. Like, everything has to be patterned after something. And a lot of churches aren't they have no paradigm. So in my understanding, anything that doesn't have a father is bastardized.
Can I add to that too? Can I add to that? But Paul writes something in 1 Corinthians 4:15. He says, though you have 1,000 teachers in Christ, yet not many fathers. He says, in Christ I have begotten you by the gospel.
That's exactly right.
And that word begotten there is like birthed you. And it also means that as a father, like, you have chosen to pattern your life after me, but by the gospel and through the gospel. And so when you look at that whole sonship piece, Pastor Brian, you're so right about that. Like, it starts from like fathers like give seed.
We're the progenitors.
Right, we're the progenitors of life. And so to have a spiritual father, part of it is to have someone to give life to your ministry, especially in its infantile stages, whereas, you're never ready for ministry until you get in it. And then once you get in it, you need someone to help guide you through it. And again, my context is I grew up with a father in my home. So to have a spiritual father for me was just natural and normal for me. So I didn't have to buck. I didn't have to. It was just like, okay, you know what? Okay, he says no, then it must mean he knows what he's talking about, and I'm just going to go with the flow. But you're so right about that, Pastor Brian. Absolutely, 100%.
It's a spiritual deficit. We don't address it. We don't talk about it. But that's so evident. That's why we're talking about it now. Thank you, sir. If we really unpack this whole thing on a very natural level, our ministries are patterned after what we see. I can come in your church and tell I can see Bethel. You can come in my church, you see some Bethel.
Absolutely.
Because we're patterned after it. Doesn't mean that we won't have some other nuances.
Sure.
But the idea of how we do ministry, how we do church, is patterned after where we've been. We've been fathered into it. And so there is a level of progenation, a level of going forward that has been seeded, as opposed to someone that is building only off of what they see in their own mind and having no other pattern. And this is why these guys will pay to go other places, trying to find a pattern. It's really what they're looking for. And they.
I got to jump back in, Bishop. I got to
Come on,
jump
let's
back
go.
in.
This is good.
He's right about that, because back to that text of what Paul says. Because in Corinth, they put lots of stock in all of their onus on philosophers and great orators, and they would go seeking individuals that they could connect themselves to.
That's right.
But fathers are nurturers. Fathers are caregivers. But individuals like that aren't. And so we see individuals who are joining fellowships and connecting themselves to names and organizations where you have a pastor or a leader of a ministry who you can't get your hands on.
You
can't get their hands on you. You
They're
can't
not
go
there.
and sit in their office and and process through
No.
problems and trouble.
No.
Yeah.
No.
We see this really, I mean, to be honest, more in the black culture.
Truth.
I've never seen a storefront Lutheran church. I've never seen a storefront Presbyterian,
No.
Methodist, Roman Catholic, or
Yes.
even Jewish synagogue.
Yes.
But our culture has them all over.
Yeah.
And when you mention power,
Yes, sir.
I mean, it really becomes a scary reality.
Absolutely.
There's a scene, there's a book written by the poet Milton,
Yes.
and it's called Paradise Lost. And it really talks about the creation of man and how man got along with God. And it gets to the point where the serpent and Satan are questioned by God about some things they're doing. And Lucifer's response was, it's better to rule in hell than serve in heaven.
That's
Wow.
it.
And
Wow.
so we're getting that same
That's
mindset.
exactly what
I
it
don't
is.
want a father. I don't want anybody to tell me that I'm wrong. The Lord
right.
told me.
Yeah.
Right.
And so now what's happening, we're feeding out of the same pond.
Yeah.
And so rather than submit and serve, I got to go right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fathers give us that moment of pause.
That's exactly right.
You mentioned, Pastor Tim, how when you have that father relationship, you sit and talk with that father. I remember saying that to my pastor. I said, he asked me, he said, I've never had anybody come to me the way you're coming to me. I said, well, I don't want to fall in the same holes you fell in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Lead me around
Right.
them.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
that's the whole point
Right.
of fathering, is to help me
Yes.
get to
That's
a
absolutely
place
correct.
where God can use me, but there's some accountability.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
There's some
Yes, sir.
accountability.
Has
Yeah.
to be.
So we're seeing this happen now in our race, more so than in Japhethites.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. It's
yeah.
there. I believe when the Lord put this thought in our heart for this podcast,
Yes.
I believe that there are some young men and women who are feeling the need to go out and
Yes.
plant a church,
Yes, sir.
start a ministry, or
Yeah.
even enter ministry.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them connected to fathering? What advice would you give them before stepping into such a great area of responsibility?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say right off the bat to connect yourself with a man of integrity,
Yep.
a father who has wisdom, who is seasoned in the faith,
Yep.
who can discern what he sees in your life,
Yep.
and do one thing that's just simple: just listen. Just listen before you decide to launch out and plant and go into ministry. You know, because many times, especially this generation, sometimes they think no means, like forever. Sometimes it's just like not right now.
Yeah.
You know, and so I would say connect yourself to a man of wisdom, an individual who is seasoned and who is proven in the faith.
Yeah. Okay.
And proven in the faith is not, you don't have to have a large church to be proven in the faith.
Right.
That the fruit of your life proves who you are in the faith. And I would say that submit yourself and connect yourself to someone genuinely.
Yeah.
Good.
And try not to just join an organization
Right.
for the sake of saying I have a covering.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Try to find yourself someone who is local, someone who can really pour into your life, because you'll be better for it.
Yeah.
And someone that you actually respect.
Yeah.
You know, yeah. And soul search and ask yourself,
Yeah.
you know, can you really follow to the point that you respect
Yeah.
what another person would tell you? And you know, to be frank again, most churches are started out of some level of rebellion or disagreement or some kind of, you know, just some ickiness, I'll call it.
Yes.
And so we launch out and maybe do those things, but you miss, there's something so deep you miss when there's no connection.
Yeah.
Right? It's almost like the person that says, I want a child, but you haven't counted the cost. And though we mentioned the word independent and freedom, one thing my sons are learning now as young adults is freedom costs.
It
Yes,
costs.
it does.
Freedom's expensive.
Yes.
Right? Independence is expensive. So if you're really thinking about launching out, ask yourself, how much of the cost are you willing to pay for independence? Because it is very costly.
Yeah.
And it helps so tremendously when you have someone who's already there that paved the way that
Yeah.
can say, I already knew it was going to be expensive, so let me help you out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely.
One of the characteristics of shifting times is that we aren't afraid of transparency.
Absolutely.
We aren't afraid to say, this is me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's
Yeah.
where we are.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing.
Yeah.
You, Pastor Bryant, you
Yes.
were my firstborn
Yeah.
out of Bethel.
Yeah.
You always say I gave you the right foot of fellowship. But you were the firstborn out
Yes,
of
sir.
here. Now, many of the people watching
Yes.
might be contemplating going into ministry at large
Yeah.
and pastoring more specifically.
Yes.
Your travel
Yeah.
from the beginning up until now
Yes, sir.
in that fathering son relationship.
Yeah.
How has that been, and how has it helped
Yes.
Tabernacle Harvest?
Well, yeah, you're talking about the whole journey,
Yes.
right? 'Cause we,
In a nutshell.
yeah. I mean, it's been great for me. My situation's different because I was raised in this church.
Yeah.
I was raised under your ministry. So we already had a tight relationship as far as father and son. When I was launched out, I started very youthful-minded. I'll just put it that way. Youthful-minded. So it brought some tough areas to you and I as son and father, and we had to really learn. I had never lived in the world in ministry apart from you.
Right.
Right, and so being out from amongst our church and doing what I would call my church, or church the way I wanted to do it, brought about a level of misunderstanding. And so for me, I had to regain consciousness because I got lost in my own ambition, because let's run with it. But I had never lived in ministry apart from you.
Wow.
So when I was in church here, it was, if you said cut the light off, I cut it off.
Right.
You said paint the wall blue, I painted it blue. There was never a question. But when I was in my own space, it became, well, I should be able to paint it pink if I want, right? and there's no issue with that, right? I'm a son. so that brought misunderstanding. And it took God, naturally, it took God to kind of bring me to that place of understanding. No, I have a father in your life spiritually so that you will overcome. And I had to realize you weren't my enemy. You were actually a father to me. So that was a whole paradigm shift for me to realize as a young pastor going out and having been sent out. I didn't sneak out the back door. You prayed for me and sent me out.
That's right.
But I had another level to learn how to also still stay a son,
Right.
who's kind of doing a thing on his own, but still be connected to a father and really listen. So it really turned around. Today, it's beautiful. Thank God we turned the curve, and but it's been beautiful for me.
Yeah, but
and
to your credit, during those
Yeah.
times, it was an adjustment for both of us.
yes, sir.
I was trying to be, as a father, trying to determine that line of
Yes.
non-involvement.
Yeah.
We all of us have kids,
Yeah.
our children. So, you have to determine that line.
Yeah.
It's true.
When you say, they want to go to California.
Yes.
My daughter,
Yes.
I always say she's me in a dress. And she knew my feeling. I'm very Victorian.
Yes.
And so in my world, she was going to stay home till she got married.
That's right.
But, you're raising them in this postmodern world.
Yeah.
And Shanina was so slick. She came to me, she said, Dad, she said, I'm going to ask you a question of which I need your blessing, not your
permission.
approval. So I turned, I said, well, this didn't sound good. So I turned around, she says, I want to get my own apartment.
yeah.
Well, she's over 21, so I don't have to give my approval.
Yeah.
So the things she asked for,
Yeah.
I had to give her.
Yes.
And I always respected her for
Yes,
that.
absolutely.
And I said, wow, she knew what to get from her father.
Yes.
And so for me, trying to adjust
Yes.
to the firstborn,
Yes.
and
yes.
watching that, thinking, why isn't he doing it like this? Why isn't
Yeah.
he doing it like that? And then coming to understand that your level of maturity and your level of decision making
Yes.
just needed an attaboy.
Absolutely.
Unless you said, well, is there another way to do
Sure.
that?
Absolutely.
But to your credit, when
Yes.
we were exchanging ideas
Yeah.
and going back and forth,
Yeah.
you always came to me.
yes, sir.
I never had another person say, well, Pastor Brian said this. You would come over and sit with me and we would work through them. And I think God honored that.
I agree.
Because Jesus said, when you have something with somebody that isn't working, go sit and talk to them.
Talk to them.
So you would show up in the office, we talk through that.
That's right.
And I learned so much from those times. So by the time Pastor Tim left here, he had a cakewalk.
I was good to go. I learned from everybody.
Me one day.
Yes. He had a cakewalk when he left.
Sure did.
I mean, I even asked him one time, I said, do you think you'd like to take the church and go about it? No. He said, no, you the father. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
But it shows that there should be progression. There should be a better understanding of what we do.
Yes.
And I'm telling you, watching your ministries, it brings me joy.
Yes, sir. Yes.
As well as contentment.
Yes.
Saying that I felt like Elijah. I can go home now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I mean, don't get nervous. I'm not. Right? But I can go home now.
I understand
because
what you're saying.
there's men of substance who will
Yes,
carry the word.
Yeah.
And I think fathering, it gives you this sense of pride.
Yes.
And I don't mean
it
in a demonic sense, but it's like, wow, I can imagine, although he didn't see it, Elijah's gone and he asks for a double portion, which is what you guys ask for without asking for it.
Yes, sir.
The conversations, the times together. And so when we have young men and young women watching this podcast and they're wondering, I'm out here in this wilderness alone.
Yeah.
And everything is trial and error.
Yes, it is.
And it doesn't have to be because the two of you testify that strong connection with the person that fathered that work in you.
You need it.
It helps you to be successful.
It's a must. It is a must. And I'm on record. No one should be pastoring without having someone that patterns them. And actually show a degree of love. And I think Pastor Tim talked about that, where surely you can pay to get into an organization. It doesn't mean that it'll show you love back. No. Right? And the truth is, many pastors live secret lives because they don't feel like there's anybody love them enough to talk to. Right? We have the benefit of being able to call you and go, I just need to do lunch and really tell you some things. And know that it's sacred and it's between us. But just paying into a process, you don't always have the beauty of being able to be yourself. And so people are forced to live secret lives and do all kind of things. We're not hearing about the egregious acts for no reason. They have nobody to talk to. There's no place to go with it. And it's a travesty because there's a lack of fathering.
Those things become transactional, not relational.
Absolutely.
And so fathering should not be transactional.
No.
It should be relational.
It's relational.
Right?
All day long.
And it works both ways. Because I feel the same. I can say, we've had conversations where I basically said, I'm tired of all this. And I want out. And words of encouragement come from you to me. You know, and I'll talk about, I'm tired of doing something. I've been doing this for 38 years. I'm only 39. I was 2 when I started Bethel. But
you was a baby.
But it was, and I get physically weary and mentally weary. When I say to Tim, hey, I'm tired. Take a month off, Bishop. Take a month off.
Right.
So, that advice comes from him.
That's right.
You, on the other hand, you want to come down here and beat people up for causing me stress. But I think that part of fathering in relationship with the two of you, it has been such a blessing for me. And it serves as refreshing. It does. Because in the back of my mind, I can say, hey, this is overwhelming. I'll call Brian and Tim and say, hey, let's go to a restaurant and sit and have a cup of coffee or something like that.
We'll do
and
it.
As you said about the relational part, a lot of these young men and women that are entering ministry, they don't have that.
They don't.
Some of them, they don't have it, but some of them don't want it. That's the danger of part of it. Because some of them see fathering as control.
That's true.
And it's not control. It's really, I'm telling you, and I can speak for both of us, we have avoided a lot of pitfalls by being able to come up to this office and sit at your desk
and
just glean, vent, hear, we've avoided a lot of drama.
Absolutely.
In 38 years, your name is unscathed.
Yes.
There is no scandal in this church. Your name
Amen.
has never been connected to a scandal.
That's right.
Pastor Brian, 21 years?
21 years.
Me,
Yes.
15 years.
Yes.
We don't have scandals connected
right.
to our names.
No. That's right.
And because we have a model,
Yes.
and we're patterned after something,
Absolutely.
as Pastor Brian says. I would tell our church all the time, I didn't just show up.
No.
Like, I have lineage.
That's
I have a heritage.
It.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not.
it.
I didn't just show up
Yeah.
here. And so those young brothers and sisters who feel like they have a responsibility to pastor people, they have to connect with another pastor, another leader who's a senior leader.
Yeah,
Again, who
yeah,
has
yeah.
wisdom and who has a proven track record in the faith.
In anything that's credible, you check the pedigree.
Yeah, man.
Right? And
Yeah.
all through Scripture, you see something, and he begotten.
Right.
And
Yeah.
then bar Jonah, bar this one.
Yeah.
It's always
Yeah.
no one is in and of themselves.
Yeah.
That's right.
You look
Right,
at Chronicles, all of it.
Chronicles
believe
is
that.
all that.
All of
Right?
it.
And
All of
this
it.
one, and this one,
That's
it's,
right.
it's so labor intensive just to
frustrating.
read it.
Yeah.
But,
You're like, get to the
yeah,
text.
get to the text. But it's important for the writer to let
Yes.
you know
Where they came from.
no one
Yes.
Yeah.
did this on their own.
That's what they did in Matthew with
Yes,
Jesus.
sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Matthew says, you guys got to know that this Jesus has a pedigree.
That's
He
right.
has a
And
pedigree.
he's so-and-so and so-and-so
Yes,
and
yes,
so-and-so.
yes,
And then it
yes.
finally gets down
Yes.
to, Joseph, who
Yeah.
was the earthly
Absolutely.
father. And then you go on, it's like, wow, these people are connected to something.
Yes.
And when I
Right.
listen to Pastor Tim,
Yes.
that's how it was with my pastor. Because
Yes.
when I went to his homegoing, I remember sitting there, and in all the years that I sat under his ministry, there was never any scandal.
That's right.
And I remember tapping Sister Lambert, and I said, that's how I want to end up.
Yes.
Amen.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
how I
sir.
want to end up.
Yes, sir.
I don't care
Amen.
about greatness. I don't care about,
No.
outstanding ministry contributions. I want my family to have a good name.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't want people standing up and,
That's
he
right.
my baby daddy, or,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
messing with the finances.
Right.
Right.
And so
Right.
fathering helps you build integrity.
Yes, it does.
Because I believe,
Absolutely.
and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that's our theologian over there. I believe the anointing flows down.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
There are no original anointings outside
Absolutely.
of Jesus. So
No.
everything we get comes from him.
No.
And then he puts people in our lives
Absolutely.
that pass it on down to us.
Absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
never see in Scripture where someone led outside of another person until you, aside from when you get to Abraham and Moses, because
Right,
they're
right.
the originals, you see
Right,
that.
right.
But then you see David and David's sons,
Right.
and then you go through the Scriptures, and you get down to Paul and Timothy, and there's always some kind of connection to another person.
Yeah.
Where it allows you to grow, to glean, to do things in a way, again,
Yes.
that you have a pattern. When I left here, it was easy. It was easy for me to do ministry
Yeah.
because I had been here for so long.
Absolutely.
And we have had so much time together and talking. And one of the things that I talked to our initial team going,
Yeah.
I said to them, we are planning this church.
Yeah.
And this church is however long, Bethel at that time was 20 something years old. I said, this church, this will be our first service, but we're 20 something years old.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're not showing up
You-
here
you
as
gained
novices,
20 years of
right? We're
knowledge,
not. We don't
absolutely.
show up here and say, "Oh, we're just getting started." So this doesn't have to be right, or that doesn't have to. No,
Yeah.
we come from something.
Yeah.
And so our ministry, in terms of start date,
Yes.
is in infancy, but knowledge, information, systems, we have 20 years.
I don't care.
And we
what
show up that
anybody
way.
says. Yes, sir. Pedigree means everything.
Absolutely.
When somebody says I graduated Harvard, you go, oh.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It
Oh,
must
yeah.
be, you must have a big deal, right?
But you also raise your expectations.
Sure you do.
Because you say they went somewhere to receive great training.
Absolutely.
And so you say, oh, well, I came up under Benjamin Smith. Oh,
Yes.
well,
Oh,
you
wow.
know,
Right.
then I expect
Right.
You should be bringing it.
Yes,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
That's true.
It's really
That's
true.
true. And now here we are in what I consider to be the closing stages of the church.
Yeah,
I mean, Christ
I
is
agree.
soon to come. And
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We're moving closer and closer to the end.
Yes.
But it seems that we're moving further away from fathering.
Yeah.
It's almost as
Wow.
if now
How about
there's
that?
this great rush to pastor, this
Yeah.
great rush to start a ministry
Yeah.
without strengthening
Yeah.
where you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you mentioned earlier the need for power.
Yes, sir.
But what do we do with the person who's genuinely selected by the Lord,
Yes.
but doesn't know the steps to take next?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lord willing, that person will connect with somebody that can, kind of take them by the hand and kind of mentor them into a process. Because it can be done. It's beautiful if it's done the right way, where you have help, you have support. And I think this is what our other brothers and sisters do very well.
Yes.
Is they'll come. They'll even put
Yeah.
money together for a church to
They
start.
have whole networks.
Yeah, they have whole networks that
Yes.
will help you build it, there's safety in it, there's security in it, and you kind of get a sense of, okay, I can do this.
Yeah.
As opposed to our culture of just wanting to start with whatever you got to do, just go
Yeah.
ahead and do it.
Right.
Yes.
Well, it lends itself to failure. It lends itself to a lot of that because in many cases you don't have the finances to do it, you don't have the resources, and you
Yeah.
probably don't have the wherewithal to even get it started.
Yeah.
But you're anointed. You have an anointing.
Yeah.
That could be
Yeah.
genuine. So anybody that's gifted, genuinely has a call and anointing, get in some kind of program, get in some kind of network that's going to train you
Yeah.
to do ministry the right way
Yeah.
and launch you well. I think
Yeah.
that's a power point.
Now we're
Yeah.
going to skew a little bit as we approach the end. What do you think the church's main mission should be now? I mean, during the 60s, excuse me, and the earlier 70s,
Yeah.
it was the outreach evangelism, bring
Yes,
people
sir.
in.
Yeah.
Yes.
On the one hand, we say we're getting closer to the end. If we are, there just aren't that many more people left
Right.
to be saved.
Yeah.
So what should the main mission be now for those entering into pastorate and even ministry at large?
Yeah, I think the mission has never changed, Bishop. I think we've gotten away from it, and the mission is discipleship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be the basis for what we do.
Yeah.
We do a lot of programming, and we've gotten away from making disciples.
Now that's a broad brush, Pastor.
It is.
I need you to take a smaller brush.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people hear that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And people that are watching us
Yeah.
now, I know that there will be people watching us who will enter into ministry.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so when you say making disciples, I need you to make that a little finer.
Yeah. So I think that when you look at it from a holistic perspective, discipleship is not just coming to a class. Discipleship is like, how do we have a discipleship component in our preaching?
Okay.
A component that leads others to Christ. Like, the work of our ministries should be Christocentric.
Okay.
Like, Christ should be the center of all that we say and do. We all know now, if you turn on social media anywhere, some of the preaching you hear is just like, what are we talking about
Yeah.
here? What are we doing here? And
Yeah.
so I think that we should have, like, Christ has to be the center of it all.
Yes.
And our responsibility is to push others to Christ and to push others to grow, to develop, and to be like Christ. And in every ministry, that'll look different, but there has to be apparatuses in place, from the teaching of the word to small groups to discipleship classes
Yeah.
to even in how we teach people how to serve, right? Because serving, we look at, let's take ushers. Ushers feel like, oh, I'm just coming to allow people to sit. But if there is something in place that says, like, this is a part of your discipleship process, like, and we operate out of the gospel, number one, and then out of the vision of this house and the core values of this house. And we wrap that around a discipleship model. Like, so everything that I'm doing in the church is geared towards discipleship.
Wow.
So I'm not just ushering and greeting.
Yeah.
Part of this is me growing into a servant of the Lord.
Right.
And all of it should point to discipleship.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I agree with you totally. One thing the Lord really gave it to me, and I think I'm saying the same thing. I admitted to God I don't know how to do it.
Okay.
And he says to me in prayer one time, teach them my heart,
Oh.
Yeah.
prepare them for my kingdom.
Yeah.
Wow.
And admittedly,
Yeah.
I don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
Other than what you just explained.
Yeah.
Surely you can get class, we can walk with you, we can, talk with you, we can be into you. And I guess you just, feed his heart maybe by demonstration, by how we live. I believe you taught us the heart of God by how you lived. It wasn't just what you preached. We actually saw you live it out, which taught us how to really walk and give God our heart and give him our best. So, how many people are close enough to us to glean the heart of God? And, so I've been on that quest on, Lord, I need you to kind of download. How do we prepare people's hearts for your kingdom?
Wow.
Because the hearts are so scattered now with
Yeah.
everything going on.
Yeah.
We're overstimulated with life,
Yeah.
overstimulated with sin.
Yeah.
And so how do you prepare hearts for a soon coming king? And that's been my quest at churches. We just been doing a series on how do we understand God?
That's a very dangerous question.
Yeah.
And I say that because when you read the Bible,
Yeah.
you have to remember Jesus is all the way over in the Near East.
Yeah.
In his time, it was
Yeah.
the Near East. It
Yeah,
wasn't the
yeah,
Middle
yeah.
East until the
right.
Suez Canal went in.
Yeah,
So Eastern concepts are different than ours.
completely.
Jesus uses the Socratic method to teach, ask questions.
True.
That's how he did it.
It's true.
But then he uses parables to illuminate the mind.
True.
But the greatest emphasis of Jesus, the teachings of Jesus, was that I'm living with you.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So when you say
Yeah. Yeah.
that you glean from me through watching, that's
Yes.
because we spent non-church time together.
Right.
Non-church time. You're
Right.
And it's in that context that you see
That
that.
you really see it.
The
yeah.
answer to your question might not be what you want, which would be spend more time with the congregants.
Right.
But you
Right.
don't have the time because society
Truth.
thrusts you down a different road. And so, in essence, you feed them,
Yes.
give
Yes,
them all
yes.
the knowledge they need,
Yes.
and knowledge puffs up.
Yes.
So, at that point, they're like, okay, you gave me all the theological knowledge I need. I don't
Right.
need you anymore.
Right.
And yet, when it's time to reach out and say,
Yeah.
I can't send these people away. You feed them.
You feed
they
them.
say we have no model.
Right.
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 And so I agree with your concepts from the both of you that discipleship is the key.
Yeah.
But I struggled with that for so long, trying to get a discipleship ministry at Bethel.
Sure. Yeah.
And it would never materialize
Yeah. Yeah.
because it requires something I can't give it.
That's
I
it.
have to get out the way
Yeah.
because I was not trained in personal connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was trained
Yeah.
in leading you from a distance and
Yes.
giving you something to see.
Sure.
Right.
But now, because of that generation that you pastor,
Yeah.
they want to hold your hand. They want
Yeah,
to touch
yeah,
you.
yeah.
They want to be. That's not my
Yeah,
makeup. I'm an
yeah.
introvert.
Yeah.
Right. But the part that we can miss is that by standards, all of our churches are large.
Yes.
By standards, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And so it's impossible, especially for you. It's not even like.
But-
but the model has to be pastoring a group who does the one another in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because when we look at the scriptural context of discipleship, we see Jesus in the 12, right? The scriptures tells us that Jesus had hundreds of disciples, thousands of disciples. It was more than the 12,
Right.
but then there were the inner 12 that
Right.
Jesus poured his life into
Right.
Sure.
so that they could start the church.
Yeah.
But there had to be times when the disciples were together without him.
I agree.
Yeah.
And so again, that model, that's the model, that as we pour into those individuals, then we
Yeah.
have to help them do the same things in a smaller
Yeah.
context, in a smaller setting, which allows that process of discipleship to continue and to be duplicated. Because we can only be at one place at one time.
Yeah,
we can't be
right.
at many places. And so
Right. Yeah.
our responsibility is to create a space, environment, and people who can carry out the heart of the vision safely with integrity and help to disciple people.
I wrestled over the last 10 years more than at any other time in my ministry evolution. Did I make a mistake by letting it get to this size instead of saying, take 100 people, plant them, take 100 people, plant them?
Right.
Yeah.
Should Bethel just be one quote unquote mega church, or should we have 300 smaller assemblies?
Sure.
And I wrestle with that because I agree with you that discipleship piece should be more intimate
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah.
And I'm not real happy with the way it is because I don't get to know them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like going into stores and having somebody say, I'm a member of your church. Oh my God.
And you don't know that.
And
Yeah.
then you almost have to lie, and say, oh yeah, I remember seeing it.
Yeah.
I don't know them. And so you wonder in the context of pastoring, did God in his selection of me, was he selecting me to be a father or a pastor?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think two things can be can be true at the same time, because I think that's both of them are true.
You're more liberal than I want you to be.
Well, but it's true though. It's true because you have both gifts. You have the gift of pastoring.
Yeah,
and
but
you have,
when you think about it, if we had that model for church growth,
Yeah.
reach a certain level, plant a church.
Yeah.
Reach a certain
Yeah.
level, plant a church.
Yeah.
My mandate was to plant 5 churches. I felt the Lord saying,
Yeah.
and I'm not big on God told me, but I felt what was given to me was, when you plant 5 churches, when you're done with that 5th one, you can back away
Yeah.
from
Gotcha.
active stuff.
Yeah.
But it did not materialize. We got up to 4,
Right.
and it did not materialize.
Yeah.
It wasn't 7. It was only 5. It's still an odd number. But you kind of wonder, yes, there is a pastoral gifting.
Yeah.
But was that supposed to be just for here, or was
Sure.
it to raise up sons and daughters
Sure.
to step out and provide them
Kinda
with the
mobilize
safety
people.
net that they
Yeah.
needed to be effective?
I think
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
both, and I think it's not too late
Yeah.
for that.
Well, I'm not going to. I'm
Yeah.
not the person to do it anymore. I think
Yeah.
it's passed off to the 2 of you.
Yeah.
And I really believe that I was at the FBI building downtown, and we were having it's just this group I sit with, and they had a new special agent in charge who came in. So the old one introduced him, and when he got up to speak, he said, I stand on so-and-so's shoulders to take
Yeah.
it further.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
that's what I see here,
Yes.
is that there's a standing on the shoulder and say,
Yes.
hey, I see farther. I
Absolutely.
mean, God's not going to go backwards in
Sure.
generations. He's going to go forward in
Sure.
generations.
Sure he is.
I mean, look, you and I had a different generation.
Yes.
He's got the one that's going to witness the return of the Lord
Yeah.
in many
Yeah,
degrees.
Yeah. Sure.
And I think that my task was to equip the people to step in there with all the nuances
Yeah.
that they have to encounter.
Yes.
They have that basic
Yes.
Yeah.
basic instruction and
Yeah.
lifestyle where they're able to do that. And,
Yeah.
I'm deeply honored that God allowed me to be a part of the 2 of your lives. I'm just so proud of both of you.
Well, we
I really
are.
am.
Thank
I
you,
mean,
Bishop.
you guys make ministry worthwhile for me because it gives me
Wow.
hope.
Wow.
I know there are no more Brian Weatherspoons and there are no more
Yeah.
Tim Baldwins that I
Yeah.
can look to.
Yeah.
But, just knowing that, you guys are stepping out and filling that void
Yeah.
and standing up
Yes,
and
sir.
being the example.
Yes.
And I tell you, it just brings a lot of joy
Yes, sir. Yes,
to these 38-year-old bones, 39. Can't lie right.
39.
39-year-old bones, and it's just a great thing. So we've come to the end again. I tell you,
That was
I
too
wish I didn't have
fast.
to
That
let
was
these
way
guys
too
go.
fast.
But, we have to be mindful of time. But they're always free to come back, and we can share with you at another time. But those of you that are struggling with ministry, you believe you hear the Lord. It's not my place to tell you you don't hear from God.
Yeah.
But it is my place to say, if you hear from God, go to someone who has heard and then compare. You remember Samuel did that. Samuel heard the voice. He ran right to Eli. And Eli gave him instruction after the 2nd or 3rd time. But it's okay. At least he went to Eli. Elisha, God told Elijah, you go and appoint Elisha to be prophet in your place. You need someone to speak in your life for accountability, for direction, and for training. Not biblical training, but life training.
Yeah.
To be able to handle the things that will come your way. I thank you for joining us on Shifting Times. And as you undergo a shift in your ministry desires, it is important that you have someone to speak into your life and guide you down this road so that you will not have to make the same mistakes that were made before you. I will tell you this. You will be successful when you connect with someone who loves you, who trusts the God in you, and then ultimately develops a relationship that will enable you to be successful. So don't be prideful, don't be arrogant, don't look for power, look for connection. Thanks for joining us today. We'll be with you on another exciting episode of Shifting Times. God bless you.